Why hello there. I've been watching a lot of RuPaul's Drag Race lately, so I really wanted to do a kind of drag-inspired look, so this is what I came up with. It was very inspired by the drag queen Farrah Moan. She's one of my favorites on season 9, so I hope you guys enjoy this tutorial, and let's get right into it. So I was really frustrated yesterday when I did my makeup, and I did a black smoky eye, but about, I'd say, probably 4 or 6 hours after I put it on, it started to disintegrate and you could see cracks in my eyelids. So I was really sad because I was out. There was no way I could go home and fix it. So today I'm going to try something different. I'm using my Color Tattoo 24-hour black color as a base and see if that helps. So now that I have my base down, I'm going to go in with Urban Decay Blackout eyeshadow and just kind of pat that on top to make sure that it stays in place and to make it even more black. I'm using one of the new brushes I got from OCC. I've really been enjoying these brushes. They were kind enough to give me the whole set when I visited them lately in New York City. They have a really cool storefront there, and I really enjoy all of them so far. They've been working really well. How many times did I say really? And I do want this to be kind of a dramatic winged out look, so I'm going to be dragging the shadow out a little bit where the liner is going to be and then just blending it in with the rest of it. And I didn't pick up any excess product, this is just what's left over on my brush. Then using a nude colored eyeshadow that's close to my skin tone, I'm just going to be blending that out a little bit on the top. I'm going to be adding another shade there later, but this is just to make sure that it's a little bit blended first. And once you're happy with how that's been blended out, you can go in with the red eyeshadow. I'm going to be using this one from Wet n Wild. And right now I don't want this to be a really vivid red, so I'm just kind of using a little bit and then blending it out with a really tapered blending brush. And just keep adding and blending that shadow until you're happy with the gradient. I'm going to go back in again with that light pale shade that's close to my skin tone and just blend out the top of that so it all looks flawless. And sometimes I find that in between blending colors it helps to clean off your brush, and because I'm lazy, I know I've mentioned this before, I use this color cleaner and I just run my brush around and then it takes off any color that's on the brush, and it's awesome. And it's $2. Now I'm going to move on to the liner. I'm using the NYX Matte Liquid Liner. I like this liner, but I find that it does get a little patchy sometimes, so I try to use that as kind of like a base for my liquid liner and then go in and touch up the tail end later with my LA Splash or Kat Von D. One of the nice things about this look is because you have black as a base on your eyes already, if you make a mistake with your eyeliner, it's harder to tell. I don't know about you guys, but I've been watching RuPaul's Drag Race a lot lately, and one of my favorite queens from season 9 is Farrah Moan, and I found this beautiful look that she did with red hair, and that's what I'm kind of trying to recreate today. I don't know if you guys can see. That's what she looks like. She looks gorgeous. Another thing I've been loving lately is these OCC pencils. They're great for eyes and lips, and I love how opaque they are. I used the black one yesterday, and it was awesome. So I'm just going to take the white one, which is in the shade Feathered, and just put that in my waterline. And I'm just going to clean up the edges of my eyeshadow because it does go out over the wing a little bit with a tiny little piece of a makeup wipe that I cut off. It's another reason why I like to do my foundation after I do my eyeshadow. In case I want to do something like this, it makes it a lot easier. And now you're ready for foundation. So starting on my face, I'm going to be using this Smashbox primer. I've been trying to switch up my primers and see which one works the best, and so far this one has been working just fine, but I haven't noticed a definite improvement over my other primers that I've been using. This one does make my face feel really super smooth and very slick, if that makes sense. And now I'm going with my L'Oreal True Match foundation in the shade Warm Porcelain. It's the lightest warm shade I think that they make in the drugstore, and I usually use about that much of it on a beauty blender. My boyfriend has always been so supportive and so wonderful, never really, complaining about my makeup whenever I've worn it. But that's something that I've always been worried about, where, what if one day I do a look that I'm really happy with, but, you know, I'm going out with him and he feels like he doesn't want to be seen with me in public with that kind of makeup on. I don't know if that makes any sense, but that's something that I've been thinking about lately. Because I know in the past when I first started wearing wigs and all that kind of stuff, my parents weren't very happy with it and they weren't completely comfortable, you know, me going out in public with them, going out to a restaurant or just having a family outing wearing a wig on, because they didn't really understand why I was doing it and they didn't feel comfortable, I guess. So I've never wanted to do that to anyone else, and now they're fine with it, you know, because they're used to me doing it because I do it so often. But I never want to make someone feel uncomfortable, you know, being seen with me in public if they think that I look completely ridiculous. That's just something that I've been pondering lately. I completely forgot to film this, but I put some Naked Skin concealer underneath my eyes as concealer. And then this has been my absolute favorite powder lately. It's the new packaging of the e.l.f. HD powder. It's the same powder, same amount of product actually, but it's just a different, you know, new and improved packaging, which I appreciate because it's a lot smaller now, so I could carry it with me in my purse. And I've kind of gone back and forth between using the powder puff to set my under eye and my beauty blender as well. I find that both work pretty much the same. I do enjoy the powder puff though because it gets a lot more powder on a bigger area faster. I especially love using it on my forehead because my forehead always wrinkles immediately after I put foundation on. So just putting a thin layer of this all over my forehead stops that from happening, and it feels so soft and smooth. I love it. So using another one of the OCC brushes, I really wish that they had numbers or names on them so I could differentiate which brushes I'm using, but I'm using the Kat Von D Shade and Light Contour Palette and taking the lightest shade, and then I'm going to take the darkest shade to do my contour. One thing I've found about this brush is that even though it's smaller, it does pick up a lot of product. And I was a little overzealous yesterday, and I picked up a lot of this same Shade and Light palette color on my brush, and I had just a brown stripe going across my cheek, which was not flattering. So just work in, you know, smaller amounts, and then you can always work up from there instead of trying to wipe off an entire bunch of brown powder off your face. And I'm going to try something different. I'm actually going to try contouring my nose today, which is I'm a little scared about. But I'm going to be taking this very flat OCC shader brush. I'm going to be taking the lightest shade from the Kat Von D palette first and just kind of shading down the bridge of my nose. And I'm not really an expert at nose contouring, so I'm just going to try to wing it, and hopefully this will look good in the end. Well, it's definitely not as good as the pros, but I am noticing a difference in the appearance of the shape of my nose, so that's good. And I've been using the Sephora Colorful Eyeshadow in the shade Cashmere Coat. Now, one thing I have been loving using my Laura Mercier powder for lately is kind of cutting the under crease of my contour. So I take it on my damp beauty blender and just kind of cut it wherever I want my contour to look really sharp and defined. And then I just kind of leave the powder on there to bake while I do the rest of my face. I think what I'm going to do for my brows today, because I am going to be wearing a red wig, if I can find it, for some reason it has disappeared, but I'm going to be using Kat Von D's liquid lipstick in the shade Outlaw, and I think will use her shade either Vampira or Nosferatu. I'm going to be taking a little flat angled brush like this, and I'm just going to be drawing it on. One thing I love about using liquid lipsticks as an eyebrow color is that they don't go anywhere. If you accidentally brush against your eyebrow, it won't move, and it's super, super long lasting, which is awesome. So I'm going to go in with Nosferatu, putting that on the tails of my brows. Because I do have very, very dark eyebrows, I'm adding a red eyeshadow to kind of help cover up the hairs a little bit more. And then for the final touch on my brows, I'm going to be taking some of my Naked Skin concealer and this little flat brush from OCC and just cleaning up any of my edges. And then the eyes are done. And all the time I've been doing my eyes and my eyebrows, I've left my powder kind of baking on my face. I think I'm going to leave that on until I finish doing my lips at the very, very end. So in this photo I'm referencing, Farrah has this gorgeous, gorgeous red pout that's slightly overdrawn. I haven't really overdrawn my lips in a while, so I guess I'll try. It looks like hers are more overdrawn on the top than on the bottom, so I will try that. And for today's look, I'm going to be taking two of the colors. I think the shade Rosary, which is this beautiful kind of medium dark red, and then the shade Vampira, which is this really, really dark, beautiful brownish red color. I'm going to see how these work together. So I'm going to start off by lining my lips with Vampira. So that's the outline of Vampira. I very, very slightly overdrew the top cupid's bow of my lip, and now I'm going to fill it in with the shade Rosary. I have to say, when I first heard all the rave reviews about these liners, I was a little skeptical because I've never really had lip liners work out for me very well. And the claims for these were that they were, you know, kiss-proof, touch-proof, you can wear them on their own, they're very creamy, they're very pigmented. And I have to say, all of the claims are actually very true because I wore these out by themselves last night to a concert, and I ate wings and then I kissed my hand, you know, and nothing came off on the back of my hand, which was insane. So let's see right now. There's nothing on the back of my hand. It was pretty impressive. So I really love these two shades together, Vampira and Rosary. So on top of this, I'm going to be putting one of my OCC lip tars, and I'm going to be using the shade Stalker. So now I'm going to take a big fluffy brush and just kind of brush away any excess powder that would be on my nose and the sides of my face. And I'm going to be taking my Baby Bat Beauty highlighter in the shade Starlight, which is one of my favorite highlighters, kind of blending it down into my contour and a little bit up into my temple and a little bit to highlight my brow bone. One more thing before I put on my wig. I'm going to be putting on my setting spray from Scandinavia. This is the makeup finishing spray. And then I'll be done with the face. Now I'm gonna go put on my wig and some false eyelashes, and I will be right back. So this is the final look. I hope you guys enjoyed. And the other star of the show, I wanted to shout out to this amazing jewelry brand on Instagram. They did not send this to me, I purchased this myself, but this is called their Holy Shit Choker. And I saw it and it was so ostentatious, I just had to have it. It is absolutely gorgeous and I'm so happy with it, so thank you so much. I will link their store and their Instagram down below if you guys want to check them out. They make amazing alternative and gothic chokers. They're unlike anything I've ever seen before, so definitely go check them out. I really love how intricate and detailed their chokers are, and they're really good quality too. These are not cheap. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye guys!